Hey guys, good afternoon. We're going to start making some videos where we just share from our heart so that we can continue to invest in this community even though we can't meet together corporately. We really do believe that the House of Prayer is more than a meeting space and a venue, but the House of Prayer is made up of living stones built together as a dwelling place for the presence of God. And those living stones are people. It's you and me. And as we seek the Lord together, as our hearts become houses of prayer, we can make this city a dwelling place for His presence. And so we just want to, share from our heart and give to you what God has given to us and invested in us. So I just want to start off by sharing a little bit of my testimony. Maybe some of you have already heard it, but I never spent a good amount of time in prayer or in fasting until I got to college. When I was in my early 20s, I struggled with a lot of depression. There were days where I didn't even want to wake up because I just had so many sad thoughts. I wanted to sleep all day. And this was the majority of my life. I remember being sad for almost 10 years straight. It was hard for me to feel happy, and I avoided social engagements, and but nobody ever knew it because I hid it so well. But I got to the point where I was just desperate, and I just couldn't live that way any longer. And I remember going to our campus chapel, and I prayed a 5-minute prayer, and I said, God, I've never felt your love before. Would you show me your love? And of course, nothing happened in that 5-minute period of time, but I didn't give up. I went back the next day, and I prayed for 6 minutes. Nothing happened. And then I went back, and I prayed for 10 minutes, and nothing happened. I went back again the next week, and I prayed for 30 minutes, and nothing happened. But I realized that when I prayed that prayer, Lord, show me your love, that He started to burden my heart for His presence. I began to enjoy prayer more, and my prayer times began to get longer and longer. And so I was in university studying one of the most difficult majors on my campus. I was studying chemical engineering, but I started giving an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of my time to the Lord. And I started to encounter the Lord, and as I spent time with Him, He spoke to me, and He shared with me His truth, and He told me about what He thought about me and the emotions that He feels about me. He called me His son. He called me His bride. And all of my sad, depressing thoughts just started getting ripped off one by one by one by one until I became free. But it was a long process, but it came from sitting in His presence and seeking His face. And I tell you what, I remember those days in university where I would just go into that chapel, and I'd go there at night when no one else was there, and I would turn off the lights, and I would just dance. I would just dance in the presence of the Lord, believing that He saw me, believing that His eyes were on me. I felt this joy within me that I was His, that I belonged to Him, and that I mattered to Him. And there's nothing like that, guys. There's nothing like that feeling of being known by God, being loved by Him, and not just being another number, but being His very own treasured possession. And that's what I want every single one of you guys to experience. I want you guys to know that same encounter that I encountered. And so I just encourage you guys, if you've never spent an extended amount of time with the Lord at home, I just encourage you just to take 5 minutes. Sit in His presence. Don't even have an agenda. Don't even know what you want to do in advance. Don't even come with a prayer list, but just sit and wait. Because I guarantee you, if you sit before Him and wait, He'll speak. And I think many of us get uncomfortable when we don't have an agenda or we don't have a checklist. And we get uncomfortable because we don't feel like we'll hear Him, and we don't feel like it's a good use of our time. But I think that it actually exposes us to sit before Him in silence. It exposes us and shows us our lack, that sometimes we actually aren't comfortable with God unless we have something to bring to Him. Just take this for example. People that we don't know so well, it's kind of awkward when you sit in silence with them. You feel like you need to invest into the time or else it's a waste, and so you fill the time with speaking or doing. But the people that you're best friends with are those that you can sit with and be completely fine with silence and stillness because you know that your friend's presence is enough. You don't have to add to it. You don't have to add more value to that time so to make it not a waste of time. And so I just encourage you guys just to do that. Just take 5 minutes, sit in his presence with no agenda, and I guarantee you he'll speak to you. He'll speak to you in a very precious way. I just want to close with Matthew 6:6. Jesus said, "But when you pray, go into your room. When you have shut the door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly." Guys, I just encourage you to go to a place where no one else can see you, where no one else is around. Shut the door and believe that God sees you. He sees you in that secret place. And I tell you, that is one of the most life-giving things, to know that you are seen by God. That's what touched my heart when I was in university, was just that fact, to know that I'm seen by God. I just want to call you into that. Go to that secret place. Go to that place in quiet and take this verse and know that from the moment you shut your door, his eyes are on you. Amen. Be encouraged and seek the Lord. Bless you guys.